Hello to everybody. We are from Romania. It's a shorter version, but I hope a richer solution because we decided to present together, me and my colleague. In the beginning, we have other thoughts, but we changed the initial solution as we thought it could be more interesting to present together. In the beginning, I would like to say hello to everybody. My colleague gave me an idea, my Spanish colleague gave me an idea. So, buongiorno, have a nice day, good morning, guten Tag. I'm really sorry, but in Turkish I don't know to say. Okay, so we are here for ILO project. That means European Learning Objects in an Interactive Methodology in Adult Education. Last week I was in Germany for a course. It was very interesting, and I found that the social competences are more and more valuable than the cognitive ones, I would say. So I hope our meeting here will improve our social competences. So we are here, we are working in team, in a partnership. So as everybody knows, we are here for Grundtvig Learning Partnerships, two, European Learning Objects and the modal, I understood. So the working team, it was very valuable, an important asset for our team. In the beginning, we found that the e-learning could be a big opportunity for teachers and for students too. I will present to our colleagues some of our objectives from the beginning. I will read them. Analysis and comparison of the best practices in using the information and the communication technology to develop the adult education, taking into consideration the methodology proposed for didactic materials by means of technological tools. What means LO? I don't know if you know, but LO means learning objects. I think it's a very useful concept. Even in the didactic work, everybody of us use objects, meaning a lesson or a test or different things. Also, we proposed as an initial objective building up a network of vocational technical schools and adult education institutions by fostering cooperation, experience, sharing and support to teachers and trainers by means of the new technologies in order to establish an effective didactic methodology. And identify integrated training solutions and produce a new didactic pedagogical guide in order to share the educational experience at European level. A few years ago, I discovered a very interesting concept, benchmarking. I don't know if you know the concept of benchmarking. Generally speaking, that means we find about other people's solution to do a good job. No, it doesn't. It isn't important the field you can apply it, and to compare them and to choose the best solution. It isn't not a thief. We don't steal anything using better or the best solution. It is an important item for our evaluation, our self-evaluations in different situations. So, these are the objectives of our project. Our initial work began here, And now I would like to present you a definition, a very important definition for us. In the beginning, we had two presentations, mine and my colleague. Mine, it was about the evaluation of adult learning, but here we decided to change a little bit the atmosphere and our presentation. So the distance education, that means for us also e-learning, is defined for purposes of accreditation review as a formal education process in which the majority of the instruction occurs when student and instructor are not in the same place. Instruction may be synchronous or asynchronous. Distance education may employ correspondence study or audio, video, or computer technologies. The definition you can find this definition in Adult Needs and Strength Assessment Manual from 2003. E-learning is a little bit controversial concept in Romania because the opportunity of having access to the e-learning and the internet and computers is not very used because there aren't many people having access to the internet or a computer. In our school, we have two technology labs, two IT labs, but they're with full occupancy from the morning until the evening because we have adult education classes, adults that learn in evening courses. We will decide to change a little, so we'll begin with the conclusion. My colleague will present to you. Her presentation is the importance of being wireless. Maybe there are some literature teachers or not. I don't know, maybe you know Oscar Wilde theater, the importance of being earnest. Yes. So we thought that the importance of being wireless could be a very important asset for us. Okay.
E-learning opens huge opportunities for those ones for whom the education is not currently available, as well as those who simply prefer this option. It is said technological itself is neither inherently good nor bad. E-learning can be employed to provide training to enhance traditional education programs.
So our conclusion, e-learning can be employed to provide training to enhance traditional educational programs, was obtained after our 2 years of project, very long and sometimes difficult job because working with adults, it isn't a very easy job sometimes. We were surprised in some situations, and we found that our students are more or less interested in e-learning. But we found that our teachers are very interested, and they think it is important to use alternative solution for the traditional education. We can use traditional education, but also e-learning. Why e-learning? Because we want to make their tasks easier. They have the opportunity to learn not even in the school, not only with synchronous connection. So asynchronous connection could be sometimes very useful. Here you can see we applied some questionnaire and we do some statistics and we find that the interaction between teachers and learners was in the most situations positive rather than satisfactory. So, what was our conclusion? Could we use e-learning or couldn't we? We decided that e-learning is only an alternative solution for the traditional education, but this depends on the knowledge of our students, and also, as my colleague said before, Palmira, it was a very important step even for our teachers, because using e-learning and using tests and lessons in electronic format could be sometimes even for teachers, could be a sort of intrinsic contest, because they have to learn many new things, they have to use the internet connection, they have to use Skype or Moodle or different other electronic options. Lately, we also use, we proposed already, I think together, a project about using wiki, blogs. There is another option, and I think this kind of education, using electronic devices and using electronic learning objects could be a big opportunity. But in the same time, work, I could say, with people minds, because the mentality is the most important. I think the barriers, the limits are in our minds, because people, and young or old, it doesn't matter, because we are speaking here about adult education, adult meaning people 18 years old. The impact for 20 years old people and the impact for 50 years old people is very different. By example, our students, the young students, were more open to the electronic learning, to the e-learning. But in the same time, the adults in their 40s or 50s aren't so interested in e-learning. We have, I think, a funny example. One of our students, around 50, he said, okay, I will go at home and I will use our tests. We have done some tests in electronic format. It was, we thought it is easier to use them for self-evaluation, because you know, we read something, we try to learn, and we used to say, oh, I know. Oh, I read, I learned, I know. But self-evaluation test could be sometimes very useful. So our students said, okay, I will go home and I will try to, I want to use your test because it's interesting, and for me, this test gives me some important steps in my educational process. But when I go home, I will have a fight with my son for the computer. So we have this problem sometimes. If you have at home only one computer and your son or your daughter use it, what could you do? E-learning is useful, I think, and but we have to think about some factors that change the situation. Actually, the age of the students, it was very important for us. The the curricula. My example, it was very different. I teach technical subjects, but I have a colleague that teach national language. Our students from the evening classes, they will pass also the baccalaureate exam. So maybe because the national language is an important test for the baccalaureate exam, they value more some subjects or not. So maybe the personal interests, the personal interests and the educational interests are sometimes, I could say, controversial, because one student, but this depends also of our own abilities. Some are more interested in languages, or some are more interested in technical subjects. It depends of school, it depends of abilities, it depends of interests. So our conclusion, it is that this project, this learning partnership, was very valuable for us. But it is only an open door. From here, it begins another work. From here, we'll have to change mentalities, we'll have to change even some resources at national level, because the resources are sometimes, the resources limit our possibilities. So we'd like to say our conclusion. It was and it is very useful, the e-learning, and it is very valuable for our students, and it's very useful for our teachers, but our project is only a beginning. The future should prove that it was useful and we can change something in our educational system. Thank you.